Okay, it's very difficult to do anything when the country is in the situation in which it is right now. And I have been observing what has been going on in the country since morning. Like many of us who are interested in what's happening in the country. And quite frankly, it's very painful and very unfortunate to see what is going on in the country, because I don't think there's someone around who thinks we should be living like this every day. And our young people getting out, expressing themselves, and the level of violence that we have seen, the level of destruction in the country is unbearable. And we cannot pretend that there are no issues. And this has nothing to do with politics. Whatever side of the political divide you belong to, these issues need to be addressed. I keep asking this question: how many lives are we going to lose before we start listening and reasoning with each other? Because what is being asked here really is attention, and then to ensure that we work in an inclusive manner to address the challenges that we face. And we cannot pretend that the challenges don't exist, and then we live as if those who are raising questions, or those who are on the streets, like our young active Kenyans, are just doing it for any other reasons except trying to address the real issues that they deal with on a day-to-day basis. So for me and many of us, really, it's a very, very sad day and very painful. If we were a little more open and more focused in addressing some of these issues, we should not have gotten here this year. Because when this happened last year, there are promises that were made that were never fulfilled. Personally, I've been thinking, actually, and maybe I'll speak about this some more when I get out and start having conversations with people. We needed an open public inquiry on some of these things, and on all things that are being raised, whether it's about unaccounted for deaths and so on. We need an open public inquiry on these matters so that issues can be resolved and can be addressed effectively and conclusively. We cannot go on like this, because the question you ask yourself every day is, how many more lives are we going to lose before we start listening and reasoning with each other? And what else needs to happen before we get to a point where we forget about whether it's politics or whatever the issues are, and focus really on the questions that we are being asked at this particular time? Why must it be that when people ask questions, they are met with either a different attitude, or they are met with violence and so on and so forth, yet they are basically asking questions, and they're not saying things that are alien to us. They're saying that things that we know and we ought to relate to in an effective manner. So my view is, I've observed this for the bit that I could, and listened very carefully, tried to spend most of the time glued to screens, to YouTube, looking at what was going on. I mean, I've literally spent my day on this particular. And it's because, the Gen Z said it's going to be their day. They don't need politicians on the streets and so on. So we have been glued, observing what was happening today. You can hardly do anything. There's nothing you can do when the country is in a situation where it is. We are all on tenterhooks. We don't know what is going to happen. And the level of destruction and violence we have seen across the country, honestly, what is it going to take for us to listen, for our leaders to get to a point where they say, let us listen and reason with each other? And yet, you see, if this is not conclusively and properly addressed, this round is not going to come to an end. We are going to continue dealing with each other in this kind of manner, all the time. I believe that there must come a time in the life of our country when nothing matters but the country. Nothing matters but the stability of the country. Nothing matters but the stability and the satisfaction of the people of that particular country. And for Kenya, for us now, that is the time. Let's for once focus on the issues that these young Kenyans are raising. I mean, approximately, when you look at the statistics, probably about 7 out of 10 Kenyans you talk to are between the age 0 and 35. Now, the 3 out of 7 who are 35 and above, we cannot fail to listen to the bulk of our population and focus on the welfare and the interests of the bulk of our population. And the questions they're asking are not about things that are alien. They're about things that are with us. So let's forget about many of these things and focus on the solutions that we need to deal with to the challenges we have. These questions I've asked about inclusion, the questions I've asked about what needs to be done in employment, how to handle education, because most of these frustrations, it's true, as some parent was telling me, some of our children are genuinely traumatized. If you have been in university for 2 years or 3 years, you cannot do an exam because you don't have money and so on. What do we expect them to do? If you have been in school, you are facing a stage exam and you need to move to the next level. Now you don't know whether capitation has come or not. You don't know what is going to be done. What is expected of us? Most of our young people are genuinely traumatized, and this is the result of that. So we can't pretend that all is fine and dandy, and therefore we shouldn't even be raising this issue in the first place, or we start ascribing them to other things. Oh, it's politics, it's so and so. This is why I always say, let us not spend time criticizing, pointing fingers and hurling insults. Let's focus on the issues that we have at hand. That's what we need to do. Thank you.